There is something wrong with modern hero shooters. The visual clutter, the mind-numbing ability spam, guns that hit as hard as a pea shooter, these problems are so prevalent that we're now starting to forget what makes aligning your crosshair on a cluster of pixels fun. Games nowadays have meticulously engineered matchmaking algorithms to farm as much engagement from you as possible so that you're compelled to buy those hot new battle passes that just decreased in value yet increased in price. To the publishers, you're nothing but cash cows who can be milked indefinitely. They completely disregard your experience, so playing the game sometimes just feels like a chore. Hence the term tilt queuing.
No. Like fucking boys telling me there's fucking me. Look at this shit.
Abused by these greedy and shameless corporations, you curl up in the nearest corner, almost to the point of weeping. You ask yourself, have hero shooters ever been fun before? Or have they always been soulless, cash-grabbing, and cringe-e-dating simulators? Believe me, you're not alone. I feel you. I'm not only tired of this, I'm outraged. In fact, I'm so pissed that I mustered up the last few remaining brain cells that are not yet destroyed by Subway Surfer, TikToks, Shorts, Reels, or whatever the hell they're calling them these days to make this video. My magnum opus, in an attempt to take you into the tunnel of time and travel to 16.5 years ago, to show you what a good class-based FPS is supposed to be. So buckle up. Grab your popcorn, take your meds, except I won't because my girlfriend disappears when I do, and let's open the Pandora's box and dive into why TF2 is light years ahead of other hero shooters. Most fucking aware sniper ever. I know this is spotty evidence, but here goes. I have only played 4 games of Valorant in my life. I got the most kills and most damage in 3 of them, yet I lost all of them. This shows that the game is not about individuals, but the entire team. Unless you are literally Jesus walking on water, it is very hard to carry a game when your team is full of inexperienced teammates.
Behind! He's on top of you! He's behind you! What are we doing?
At first glance, this design makes total sense because Valorant is a competitive game made for esports. The entire team should be at the top of their game to win. But when you put that into a solo queuing environment, you know, when you've just got home from a long shift at McDonald's, things go terribly wrong. The fact that you can't control how good your teammates are strips away your influence on the game. This becomes even more frustrating when the opponents recognize that you are the lifeline of your team and focus on you. I mean, props to the enemy team, but still, this stuff is unbearable as a semi-casual player. And it's not just the mega sweat $2 billion esports spyware that does this. Apex Legends is a prime example as well. If you hop on Twitch and watch ultra-skilled streamers who haven't gone outside in 6 weeks, you still see them losing games because of them getting 1v3'd. The game is designed such that one clip of your gun can only kill one guy even if you hit every single bullet. Well, generally. And if the other team has 2 brain cells and rushes you together, you're just gonna die no matter what. The bottom line is, modern games make 1v multiple player scenarios harder than you were when you discovered Smut for the first time. Whereas in TF2, everybody is doing their own thing. You know, teamwork is an illusion and blah blah blah. Most of the combat encounters in the game are sort of 1v1s. Seriously, nobody cares about the objective, they're just there to have fun. A good player can rack up 20 kill streaks without whispering a word to their teammates because the weapons you're using are good. They can sustain high damage output for a long time. For instance, the primary gun used by the fast and therefore not the strongest character can kill the beefiest class in the game 2 times without reloading. And even if he uses up all the shotgun shells, he can continue to fight with his pistol. The single fire nature of the weapons also make it more possible to dodge incoming shots. It is just so much easier to enjoy the game as one person in TF2. TF2 allows good players to have a higher degree of autonomy on their experience, making it more worthwhile to improve at and more fun to play, which is why we play games in the first place.
If it's not fun, why bother?
However, in the modern age of online entertainment, not only must a game be fun to play, it should also be fun to watch. Would you rather watch this? Or this?
Okay, watch what
Can you just go one way or something?
I'm taking you with me, what's it? you save me? Oh my god.
The key difference between these two clips is the nature of the weapon, automatic and single fire. With automatic weapons, which are the main weapons in most modern games, the only effective way of aiming is tracking, which by no means is easy. I'd even say it's the hardest form of aiming, especially for high sensitivity players. The problem is, tracking is boring to watch or play. There is no personal style, no flair, no excitement, just plain old putting your crosshair on the pixels for an extended period of time. A brand new player and an eternally online hardcore 10k hour sweat is gonna do the exact same thing, only difference being that there are less numbers popping up on the new player's screen. Single fire weapons, on the other hand, are the exact opposite thing. There are tons of aiming methods involved, namely tracking, flicking, snapping, predicting, the reverse aerial hangman, and the Tokyo sandblaster. Well, I made the last two up, but still, with single fire weapons, there's so much more you can do with them. A low sensitivity player can smartly place their crosshair and wait for their prey to walk in there, while a high sensitivity player can go cocaine mode and flick their mouse as if a cockroach has crawled into their hands. There's just so much more variation and it's so much more entertaining to play and watch. And now you might say, hey you impotent whiny dickhead, what about CS2 and Vanguard installer? There's flicking in those games, look! Well, hello there, smartass. I agree that this looks entertaining and is probably satisfying and fun to do. In spite of that, let me ask you a simple question. Are you capable of empathy? An emotion we as humans have and possibly some primates have too. Now if those animals are capable of that, maybe you can too. What I want you to do is think about the guy getting shot at. What would you feel if you were the guy getting insta-killed by some dude who hasn't seen sunlight in 6 years? Most people would resort to insulting the better player, like I just did. And that's because there's really nothing you can do, you just see him and you die. As for TF2, most weapons in that game take 2 shots to kill a player.
1 shot, 2 shots.
This allows each shot to feel punchy and impactful for both parties, the guy shooting and the one being shot at. That's because you don't have to slow down when you shoot, and dodging single fire weapons is so much more feasible than dodging automatic ones. Well, unless if you have high ping and become Neo in the Matrix, but I digress. Now in TF2, if you're hit once, getting hit again means obliteration, so the stakes skyrockets for both parties and now it's dodge all the hits or die. Hence, interactions in TF2 usually become a deadly dance of clean movement and precise shots. And it is exponentially more exciting than 2 players strafing left and right at the speed of a grandma in a wheelchair and holding mouse 1 or the right trigger until one guy dies. Speaking of dying, do you know how many bullets it takes to kill this guy? Well, it's easy to calculate, let me show you. Firstly, this gun deals 15 damage per bullet. If you hit the feet, it deals 20% less damage. If it hits the head, then it deals more damage but scales inversely with the level of helmet you have. And if the character you're shooting at is fortified, then a further 15% damage is reduced except for headshots. And then, well, you still have no idea because you don't know what his shield level is. Therefore, when you're barely unable to kill someone, you'd rarely be able to say, oh, if I had just hit one more shot, because A, the math for killing somebody is so unnecessarily convoluted, and B, most weapons are automatic, so you don't know if you were 13, 14, or 15 damage shy of killing them. In TF2, every time you die, you can learn from your failure a lot more tangibly, because the math is easier. 100 damage for a point-blank shotgun blast and a pipe, 60 to 80 for splash rockets and stickies, etc. You can see a player and instantly know at max how many shots it takes to kill him. This allows you to make better decisions to win the encounter, and if you die, you can say, oh, if I had just hit that one more pipe. If I had dodged that one rocket, etc. It's a lot simpler to learn from your mistakes as everything is more clear-cut. My favorite schizophrenic racist and creepy programmer once said, an idiot admires complexity, while a genius admires simplicity. When an idiot sees something they can't understand, they think the author is a god. Because the author has made something nobody can understand, so the author must be ultra smart. A genius, however, appreciates the elegance and beauty that is present in a simple design. Wow, I sound so much like an arrogant asshole here. Maybe I'm just as schizo as Terry. Anyways, the bottom line is, TF2 has a simpler damage system that works well for the good and bad players. But other modern shooters have, for lack of a better word, clusterfucked damage design.
Big data, machine learning, blockchain,
Air strafing, crouch jumping, damage surfing, etc. These are general skills that apply to every class in TF2. As for modern games, yeah, they do have some deeper mechanics too. For Overwatch, you can crouch to reduce your footsteps sound and time when your enemy has an ultimate ready, whereas in Apex, movement techs such as wall jumping, super gliding, tap strafing, and a billion more exist. So I think it's a good thing that these games have some depth to them. But in terms of character-specific techs, modern games in general just lack them. In TF2, almost all classes have a literal learning curve to them. The soldier can go from performing a simple rocket jump to going for sinks, pogos, and surfs. Same goes for sticky jumping and Demo Man. The spy can learn a plethora of trick stabs, and there are so many more examples. For God's sakes, even the weapons have some tech to themselves. This is precisely the reason why you see the 10 tiers video for each class in the game. There is so much to learn for each class that it takes an entire video essay just to differentiate the skill levels among the players in each class. I mean, I'm not saying there aren't deep characters in modern games. I main Pathfinder in Apex, and there are 16 different ways to hit a grapple. But some characters are just like press Q to run faster, to become invincible, to scan enemies, and they're just pretty shallow. Besides, as much as I love this bootleg Ultra Kill V1, there's no way in hell that there are 10 divisions of skill for Pathfinder players. Also, some abilities in Apex just feel kinda unrefined. A scan from the Bloodhound looks cool, and it is useful, it fits the sci-fi setting, but is it fun to press Q and see squares pop up behind walls? Hey look, this character can fool enemies by sending decoys. But is he really useful in a team fight? Or why is there a character based around camping in a building? How is that fun? Obviously, not all of the abilities are trash and unimaginative, but for me, some abilities just feel like a product of a brainstorm session with no consideration of how fun they are to use and play against. In TF2, of course, not everyone is equally powerful. Soldier and Demo are always the right pick in any situation, but at least the classes are meticulously designed to appeal to different skill sets, and hence different players can find their place on the team. They don't like aiming? Play Pyro. Don't like fighting players all the time? NG and Medic have got your back. Want to play mind games with your enemies? Play Spy. Each class is designed for certain types of players to play, so people don't feel left out. In Apex and possibly Valorant, if your aim is good, then every character is good to you. If you're bad at aiming, these games are just hell on earth. As for Overwatch, I have no idea what is going on in the game, period. Like, there are so many heroes with so many abilities, and the worst thing is, it is never rewarding to learn anything in the game, because each match is so dependent on your teammates, and you rarely get to 1v1 anybody. You did well? Well, of course, there is a Mercy pocketing you. You lost? Well, your teammates suck, you suck, I don't know. Legit, I'm probably the worst player in Overwatch 2. All I do is read the abilities description, which I will forget after like one day, and there are 60 billion of them. I go into a game, shoot, and then spam abilities. I do these things the best I can. Sometimes I win, sometimes I lose. Kind of a 50-50 chance. So for a beginner like me, the game is overwhelming because of the sheer number of characters and abilities. The guns never really do feel satisfying. Winning doesn't evoke any feelings since it is just a coin toss, and the game feels mind-numbing to play. No satisfaction, no urge to improve or try harder. You just load up the game, get bored, and then log off to do whatever.
TF2 is more arena shooter based, whereas Overwatch is more like MOBA style strategy, cringe based.
You know what's also cringe? The characters in these modern games. I mean, not all of them are cringe. In fact, let's start with a better example. If you look at Revenant's bio in the game, it is a pretty nice mix of silliness and thrill. For certain characters, you do feel that the writers are good at what they do, but you can't just put 80 characters into a game and try to make them memorable or even at the very least likable. You know, there are TV shows with a budget of $11 million per episode that fail to do that. So yeah, that overworked, underpaid intern writer isn't gonna come up with anything interesting for a 51st quirky and crazy character from your shitty sci-fi setting. Additionally, the writing is only good when you read, well, the writing. And if you're unfamiliar with how the internet is going, nobody really has the patience to read anymore. And even if they do, they aren't gonna spend it on reading about fictional characters in video games. Now that's when the in-game voice lines come into play. They are the only way to convey a character's personality to all of the players. While the voice actors generally do an an okay job, there are simply too many characters for any one of them to pop out. Hey, look at me, I love destruction and explosions, haha, I'm so wild. Hey, I'm also into chaos and destruction too, I destroy worlds, haha, I'm so special. Hey, look, I have mad in my name, that means I'm so quirky and crazy, haha. My dad died. The golden rule of storytelling is to show and not tell. And if you cram 60 characters with personalities that blend in together into a game, then you don't really show anything, because everything is just so diluted and blended in together. You've basically ruined all of the polygons the artists have placed, and the voice lines that the actors have recorded. And yeah, I know, it doesn't take a genius to know that I'm as informed in Apex Legends lore as Joe Biden is awake.
I'm gonna take a nap, Tony.
But still, I'm really not motivated to watch all 55 cinematics and scroll through the comics to learn about the intricate backstories of 25 somewhat uninteresting and kinda cringy characters. But in comparison to other games, Apex is relatively decent, because good old Overwatch there has 41 heroes. Like, I don't even know 41 people who will call me back. So well, how does TF2 do it better than modern games? Well, firstly, the game has 9 characters. That's it. You just don't bring a chainsaw to teach a 3rd grader's art class and congrats. You've made the first step to making good lore. If you take the number of characters in TF2 and times it by 4, it's still less than the number of heroes in Overwatch. That makes it astronomically less overwhelming for someone to get into the world of TF2. Each voice line you hear in-game instantly hits harder because of the simple fact that there are less characters in the game. And that makes the individual characters stand out more. It's just simple math. Moreover, the characters in TF2 are not only well written, they are iconic. Think of Scout for an example. He's a young fellow who runs fast, kind of a douche, acts kind of like a bully, but when he's needed, he does the right thing, so its heart is in the right place. Now let's look at Tracer, which is a pretty well written character. If you look deep into the lore, Tracer probably has depth to her, like she's got a disease because of the time skipping or whatever, but the problem with a lot of these modern characters in FPSs is that they take themselves way too seriously. Like, would you rather listen to this?
Heroes never die.
Or this?
We cannot teleport bread anymore!
The latter is silly, but it has infinitely more soul and humor to it. But hey, we are modern games. We've got twice the resolution, 16 times the detail, and I propose a solution for poor gameplay designs. Eye candy. These models are so good that it literally created jobs for, well, animators. Look at these polygons. The model looks fantastic. Art style, immaculate. Voice acting, impeccable. Which leads me to one burning question. Why hire model artists and map designers when you're gonna pour all of their hard work down the drain by drowning the screen with health bars, shiny abilities, and outlines that blend in with the background? I cannot stress this enough. Modern games have such complicated graphics, yet they do not consider how colors work. Now, I am far from being a painter or an artist. I almost got dead last in art class at school, but I still know that if you use a billion colors on a map and then use the same billions of colors on the character, sometimes they just blend in together. This causes players to lose track of enemies. Oh, then how do you publish 10 million skins, put them into loot boxes, and then exploit the fact that human brains do not play well with probabilities to make profit? Well, here's the solution. An outline. With this, we can basically use any color on anything without the player feeling like they're fighting in the Vietnam War. And now that we have some leeway, we can make the abilities pop more. But oh, they pop too much now. Let's add a health bar too, because you wouldn't know how much damage you deal because of the shitty damage design anyways. And now that we have the health bar and the outlines, let's make the map and the characters identical. Let's make the abilities look even crazier, and then you get Overwatch, where the guns feel like crap and the game looks like a Skittles overdose. And now you're gonna think, hey, this Valve Dick Rider is gonna glaze TF2 like it's the best game ever, just like he did all those chapters ago. Well, you are kind of right. I do think the visual design and cosmetic system in TF2 is better than modern games. And I'll tell you why after I talk about the microtransactions. Like, why are you assigning tiers to community-made items? Why are you ripping new players off by offering them weapons at 1 billion times their actual worth? TF2 is the grandfather of microtransactions, and it's disheartening to see its impact become so widespread among the gaming industry. The only thing that makes TF2 better than other games riddled with microtransactions is trading, which only benefits veterans because why would little Timmy know about trading when he's been unboxing loot boxes for years? Okay, back to visual design. Now I'm not saying TF2's design is perfect. There are cases where if you equip a specific set of cosmetics and go out of your way to paint them in a specific color, then team recognition goes out the window. However, that's only a marginal case. I rarely see players doing that in my 1,700 hours of gameplay. Usually, the cosmetics in TF2 work with the original models appropriately. You know, each class has a distinctive silhouette, the colors on the models are saturated so it stands out from the gray and dull environment that the models are in. There are no outlines because of a revolutionary new technology, colors. And there are no health bars because you know how much damage your weapon deals. This makes the game so much more playable and readable than other modern hero shooters. By the way, it's such a shame that the comp scene in TF2 is so small. From a spectator's perspective, it is easy to tell what's going on due to the lack of visual clutter. I suppose modern games are a lot easier to learn and they have official comp modes and tournaments. Finally, now I get to the cons of TF2. Now I can berate my favorite game of all time. What do you get when you cross mentally ill loners with a developer that has, somewhat, abandoned them and treats them like trash? I'm telling you what you'll get. You get the TF2 community. Now blaming the mishaps of some dense and deranged individuals on the entire TF2 community is dumb and unfair because a community consists of an array of different people, some good and some bad. However, TF2 is a 16-year-old game that can be run by your grandmother's laptop. Anyone with a PC and a keyboard can type in TF2's unmoderated chat room, provided you pay for the TF2 Premium. Therefore, on the less serious side of things, you get kids accusing players that they're cheating. In the more revolting cases, you'll get this.
Every kill you get, I'll give you an ooh.
Alright, bet.
Oh my god, I'm so nervous.
Aw, you're adorable.
Ooh. Ooh. Oh, ooh. Ooh.
Oh my god, that is so adorable.
Oh, an ace. Ooh.
Oh, what? You're live on Twitch?
And the questionable behavior doesn't only include racism. Recently, in an effort to combat the aimbots that had been wreaking havoc in the game, people started drawing gay porn on the bot hoster's mascot, which is pretty counterintuitive because bot hosters thrive on attention. TF2 just, due to its age, has a more conservative community who are less afraid to offend people. That's how I can put it. As for modern games, I wouldn't say they're not toxic. You'd get a 7-day ban for calling somebody dumb, but surprisingly though, I agree with what they do here, and that's because you really deserve a ban for getting mad at people in these chat rooms. Like, who even talks more than a sentence in here? What's the point? You're never gonna meet that person ever again in your life anyways. But I digress. The point I'm trying to hammer home is the TF2 community has a lot of people, and most are really nice. 99% of my inventory consists of items donated to me by viewers of my TF2 streams, but some of the less friendly people are also in the community, and they stick out like a sore thumb, so please ignore them whenever possible.
Is Valve planning any major updates for Team Fortress 2?
Yes, we have updates in Team Fortress 2.
Okay, because are you aware of the ongoing bot or hacker crisis?
Oh yeah, we're very aware of the problem and I think we have good solutions for it.
Hey, he's not wrong, we get updates. Turns out Valve has been cooking a complicated and multi-stage ban wave for the bot hosters, and if a newer player looks at the update page of TF2, they'd say, hey, this game does have updates, maps, cosmetics, game modes, and all that jazz. From the surface, it looks pretty darn nice, but a veteran will come in and tell you, hey, the last major update was 7 years ago, and it was like the second coming of Jesus. The website for the update released new stuff daily. There was a voiced trailer, new weapons, balance changes, and most importantly, soul. You could feel the passion that's radiating from weapons, web pages, the trailer, even the banana. Now all you get is just them Ctrl-Z and Ving everything from the workshop, without whispering a goddamn word. Nonetheless, I do recognize the significance of Valve striking down the ban hammer on the bots. even if it was done just to stabilize the virtual economy of Valve games. Returning to the modern age of interactive online entertainment, I do agree that some aspects of updates have soul to them, but sometimes you feel that all they want is just show off that crazy new cosmetic that you just have to buy. At least the developers type something in their patch notes to communicate. I only ever started consistently playing TF2 since Jungle Inferno. I've only experienced well, 0 major updates. Therefore, you can probably tell that I don't value updates in a game as much as the average person would. Doom hasn't experienced an update in like 30 years or something, but people still play it. You know, not having updates doesn't make a game bad, but regardless, in a multiplayer FPS game, having updates would definitely be nice. At the current state of TF2, all I really want is just weapon balances to make the game more fun. You know, revert the ambi, rework the vaccinator, reduce the ammo on the sniper, and so on. If I want to watch something TF2 related, I can watch community-made animations and the voice actors goofing around, okay? Shocking, I know. I prefer to feel something rather than watch over-edited, soulless corporate-made trailers only designed to get higher engagement numbers from players. Alright, we are now at the second last... Okay, we are now at the second last chapter. Let's see if the video lacks anything. Hot takes to create needless discussion about your video to artificially spike up engagement numbers. Got it. The classes in TF2 differ too much in power levels. Yeah, there you go. I criticized a gameplay flaw of the game Team Fortress 2. Picture this. There's 4 demo man on your 12-man team. But you have an itch to play Demo too. Oh well, that's fine because Demo is a really overpowered combat class. You can't have too many demos on your team, so it's okay to be the 5th Demo. Oh, you want to play Spy? And what? There's more than 3 spies? Alert! An extra spy is in our base. An extra spy in our base? Quickly, deploy the video essay. Really, the reason why I main Demo is that I can play him no matter what. He can literally do anything. Oh wait, you're a heavy main and there's 1 good spy on the other team? Well, have fun in the respawn screen. Soldier and Demo and Medic are just so versatile and powerful in every situation. That's why they're called Generalists. The other classes then are called Specialists. In the right circumstance, they are just as effective as the Generalists, but they sometimes plain old suck. Like, what is a Pyro gonna do against a Wrangled Sentry? Nothing. Other games do have the issue of hero matchups that are somewhat hard counters, but there aren't that many characters in these games that are as versatile and powerful as Demo and Soldier in TF2. Moreover, TF2 likes to use certain mechanics or weapons to self-sabotage its design. Random crits are dumb. When you get one, your bullet or projectile glows and deals 3 times its normal damage. As much as I enjoy them as a reasonably skilled player, new players will be baffled by the weird mechanic where you just die due to random chance. It's actually worse than that because the more damage you deal, the more random crits you get. So new players are just screwed over for no reason. And in case if you don't know how online games work, retaining new players is a pretty important thing, you know? So please, remove random crits from casual and let community servers be the ones that offer the silly and funny insta-die experience. As for weapons, the Vaccinator and Wrangler are the weapons that are responsible for my hypertension that I will get when I reach the ripe age of 30. Imagine meticulously designing the health values for sentries and all the different classes, and then designing all the damage for all the weapons, just to have some lobotomized Uncle Dane wannabe press 2 and instantly 3 times their sentry's health. Same thing goes for the Vaccinator too. These weapons grant enormous damage resistances with little to no skill required. It messes up the glorious 2-shot math of TF2 and is extremely frustrating to deal with as a solo player. Now Valve is probably never gonna change these weapons, but if any medic or NG mains are watching, please don't use those weapons, man. I hate them so much. Come on, I have an aneurysm whenever I see one.
In TF2, there's a weapon called the Vaccinator. There's also the Wrangler. It's basically like having to play against the Vaccinator and the Wrangler full time if you play Overwatch.
So, it's finally time for me to take off my mask of rage and sarcasm. Although TF2 has a few flaws here and there, this game in general is simply very fun, and I've been playing it for 7 years now. This game was created in a time where maximizing player enjoyment was the priority, whereas most games nowadays want you to get addicted with straight up predatory matchmaking algorithms so that you'll be compelled to buy that new hot skin and make the publishers some big fat bucks. TF2 means the world to me, and I'd love to see new players try it as well. So please, if you haven't tried it yet, install TF2, go and watch this guide, linked in the description, to change the game's outdated default settings. And I know, the devil inside of your head is telling you to ignore this guide and just play the game, but trust me, the game's default settings are so bad. Your FOV is low and your projectiles literally don't appear at the right time. There even is a 2 million view video explaining that. So please, watch the beginner's guide to change the settings, at least, okay? Once you've done that, you're now prepared to enjoy the most fun you can have online. The game's learning curve is steep, but I'll tell you this, every hour that I've spent playing the game and learning it was worth it. And that's why TF2 is light years ahead of other hero shooters.